Hey guys, welcome back. How's everybody doing? How's the chat? Chat, how are you? Comment section later on. How are you doing? Let me know. Thanks for being here. In this one, we have some stuff that, you couldn't even make up if you tried in your wildest dreams. Just never. I don't know how this happens, but it happens. More ridiculousness that is Arjun Dylan. Happy Friday. Did everyone join the Discord? You notice it's on screen here. I'm expecting you all to be there tomorrow night for the happy hour, the weekly happy hour for voice and or video chat. We're in there. We hang out. You can have a beverage, the alcoholic or non-alcoholic variety, but you must have a beverage. It doesn't matter if it's water. It doesn't matter if it's bodily fluid, but you need one. We got that going on every Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there for that. It's called happy hour, but oftentimes it's much longer than an hour. So just keep that in mind. We will be there for sure for the first hour, but probably some hours after that. No guarantee, but that's it. That's all. A reminder to, when you're in the Discord, when you're joining that now or after this, well, I guess you have to do it now so that you can post a picture of your little drinks from Liverpool in the Premier Beers Discord channel. So get in there, post that. There's a nice collage. Again, no typing, just pictures, only pictures. I want to see what you're drinking while you're watching right now. If you can do that at the same time, great. If you can't, make the arrangements to do so next week. Every Friday, premiere day, be here or else. So, again, something special for the channel members. You poor members were so dedicated that you suffered through default badges. Well, not anymore. We now have these bad boys, as you see here. There's a slight evolution. It's sort of like those Animorph books where we have myself turning into Officer Jenny. And so you have the new member after 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. So it should be interesting to see how many Jennies end up hanging out, how Jenny they are. And I guess we'll take a look through the actual emotes themselves. Some of these I'm not exactly proud of, but here they are regardless. Should be good for the LOLs. Here's the default stage 1, stage 2. This is I'm looking a little bit emo in this one. Stage 3. We got the winky, the winky. We got the hat added here. You're getting a kiss. Ignore that one. That one's pretty disgusting. Then we have the glasses down. And stage 6, we got this was supposed to be a sexy lick. It turns out I'm not very good at taking pictures of sexy winks or licks. But I hope you guys enjoy regardless. All right, quick recap of what we did this week. We had cracking for the binder number 6. We got the another CGC boy for the binder card. In this day and age, make sure you're extra careful. Check your card before you crack it out. Make sure that it's not a fake stamp, an Arjun special if you may. Then we had I guess this was a kind of a special opening. I had the Astral Radiance pre-release Fish Tank deck overview. Which is kind of interesting. I went through all my polls and what I built for my deck at the pre-release at the LGS. So I think next pre-release I will try to do something a little bit more elaborate or some filming at the event itself. I'll either pick up a tripod or maybe can have someone film it for me, like an over shoulder, what I pull from the packs, and then what I end up making from the provided packs and deck. Could make for an interesting little documentation. It's cool, like kind of keepsake or memory. I don't leave these decks assembled, so very, very cool. to go through that and have a nice little memory there. Gameplay maybe at some point will be recorded, but that's difficult. You gotta make sure that everyone's comfortable with that, and there's a lot of people that are new players and everything else that might not be as comfortable putting their dumb self on the internet like I am. We had the fake first edition base booster box opening, which was interesting. Again, these are, I think, good educational pieces. There's a lot of people that ask me, I know anyone that's been in the hobby for a long time would recognize this as a fake box, because if you hold an image next to another image, like an image of a real box next to this one, you can immediately tell that it's not the real thing. But I have people that don't recognize that stuff and are asking me like, hey, should I buy this? Is it real? The answer is no, but this is some good checks, I guess. And also, if you already know, maybe it's entertaining in the fact that you can look at some really fake, awful cards. So interesting stuff. There's a jungle one as well that I did previously, which did really well. People seem to like it. So I don't buy fake Pokemon cards or like bootleg, whatever, especially ones that are being produced at the time. It encourages bad stuff. This was already done up, already purchased. So I didn't feel too bad opening it up on the channel, but yeah, discourage that altogether. Thanks, Jack, for sending that to me, and unfortunate that you ended up with it in the first place, but at the same time, I think it's a good learning tool. And even if something is done better than this, any amount of knowledge that people can gain from seeing fake stuff is for the best, I think. So then we have our boy Miles Peterson here with some fake Pokemon cards, graded slabs, booster boxes, and games. So basically hitting everything here with the fakes, the counterfeit stuff, and hopefully they change their ways before they get into legal trouble, and hopefully people can keep an eye out. So this was a little bit troublesome because I got a lot of comments here people saying like, hey, I can't tell these are fake. Maybe I need to make more videos. I do have a significant amount of videos with microscopes using the jeweler's loop to identify fake cards. This is the case where you could identify them very easily, even if you can't by eye, which you should be able to on these if they were in person. Just compare it to a real card. And the thing with these is, the problem with these is the fact that you can't just check the back. You have to check the front as well, and the front is not printed the same way as the original cards. So even if you can't tell with your naked eye, if you have a jeweler's loop and you're checking the rosette pattern on it, then you should notice these are fake, regardless. As we've seen, even if they're graded, you should have a jeweler's loop. They're only a few dollars on eBay. Get the lv.x is more than sufficient. Use that, take a look, practice looking at cards, take a look at real cards, take a look at some fake cards, see if you can spot the differences. They're very obvious once you know what you're looking for. But that's the thing. You have to know what you're looking for. Don't rely on the grading companies. The grading companies can make mistakes. They're grading your card in like 20 seconds, I would imagine. So there you go. Yeah, there's a fake Vivid Voltage box that I opened, which is a pretty good example. And then there's a follow-up where I compare the real cards to the fake cards. And that pretty much teaches you everything that you kind of need to know. I mean, step one, look at pictures of the real thing. Compare it to the card that you think might be fake. Step two, jeweler's loop, rosette pattern. There's nothing that's going to pass those two tests, short of like somebody rebacking something, which there's not really a reason to do so in Pokemon, like there is in Magic, where they had the collector's edition stuff. At that point, you have to do sort of like a field test. If it feels different, or if it's heavier or whatever, maybe they glued a new back onto it. But not something that's very common in Pokemon. The fake stamps as well. No, the fake stamps. There's an article on E4 that I've made. There's countless examples of real first edition base stamps. If it's in a different spot, check the set that you're looking at that's in question. If it's not in the same spot, it's a fake stamp. If it's not the same size, it's a fake stamp. If it's smudged, it's probably a fake stamp. Then, last but not least, we have the alternate art Pokemon card tier list. And thanks again to Inert, who posted this on E4. And yeah, he's in the Discord. So be cool like him. Join the Discord. I'd like to thank Hunter for sending us the graded card of the week. We're straying away from Pokemon a little bit this week, but why not? We got to mix it up a little bit, right? We have a BGS Michael Jordan rookie, and he is doing a handstand on the basketball. Again, another reason, maybe don't have so much faith in these grading companies, the graders. If they can manage to mix up labels, if they can manage to grade the wrong card, if they can manage to send it to the wrong person, if they can manage to even put the card in there upside down and it passes quality control when Michael Jordan is clearly upside down here, can you expect anything from them? Sorry, but you can't. Before we get rolling here, I want to do a little something special for a couple brothers. A little message for them. It's important, as brothers, that you look after one another. Talking to you, Axel, Max. I got a couple cards for you. I'm going to need you to hold on to these. This will be like your power rings that you can touch together and know, hey, this is the brotherly bond. I know at times I have a brother and we have our disagreements, but it's important. You love each other, you look after one another, and you're always there for one another. So, you guys, you get a couple fire energies here. Little first ed boys. No, the stamps were not put on by Arjun. Don't worry about that. How we gonna do this here? Let's do a little signed energy for you. Let it dry, and I'll make sure this finds its way to you. You get the matching first edition fire energies for the boys. Remember, everyone should look after one another, but especially if you're brothers. Oh, we need the dash. We need the dash here for the matching. There we go. Take care of each other. So, I've seen a lot of people taking this opportunity to rag on AGS because they graded a bunch of these cards. But as a reminder, these fake stamps by Arjun, these same fake stamps were graded by PSA and they were graded by BGS. Here's an example in front of us. We also have to acknowledge the fact that AGS provided a list of all the cards that were graded by Arjun. All of them were indeed altered. Why hasn't PSA done the same thing? Why hasn't CGC given us a list of all the things that Arjun has sent in to them? Whether they've rejected them or not, we should have a full list of what he sent in, because everything he sent to AGS was fraud, was altered in some way. He was going to send fake cards, but the majority of what he sent all had first edition stamps added to them, whether they were, gray stamps, thin stamps, thick stamps, dick stamps, anything and everything. So, this isn't just AGS, this is grading in general. If we're going to rag on somebody, we're going to rag on all of them. We're going to rag on all of them equally, all of the ones that graded these cards. So I'm tired of everyone out there that's like, AI grading is dumpster trash supreme. You need a real person looking at it. The real person can't tell either, because the real person is not getting paid enough money to know what they're doing. Or they're not given enough time to look at the cards long enough. But I'd say that it's probably a lot to do with the fact that the person doesn't know what they're looking at, because they're not paying enough money to actually afford somebody that knows what they're looking at. So, moral of the story, Look at your own cards. Authenticate your own cards. Watch this channel. I'll show you how to do it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, jeweler's loop. You'll never get duped. Unintentional rhyme there. But so the summary on this one here is a customer. Someone purchased the card already graded as a PSA 4. And then we have the attached picture here of the card in case. Cracked from case, submitted to CGC, attached pic of card post cracking. So we'll take a look through here. There we go. In May, CGC refused to grade on a basis of altered first ed stamp. So again, CGC caught it in this case. And PSA refused to offer guaranteed value on basis card is no longer in PSA case. So that's a little bit of an issue, and I think there should be an exception made here because they authenticated it. So they should at least be responsible for the extra value that they added. Had it not been in a PSA case, would the person have looked at it harder? Would they have noticed that it was fake? So I think they need to work with eBay here in order to get a resolution for this customer. It's unfortunate that they cracked it out, but at the same time, if they can prove that it's the same card, which PSA, if they're taking images of the card, should be able to tell that it's the same card. Just because you crack it out of the case shouldn't make it not the same card. I get that they can't just do that in all cases, but I think this is an extreme case where you graded something that was altered. You took fees for that. You took fees to grade this card that was altered, incorrectly graded it, and then someone sold it at a premium because it was in that case and it was authenticated. Regardless of whether the next owner cracks it out or not, that cost is still transferred on. Otherwise, you're just saying that there's no value added. If there's no value added, then that's not an issue. But if you're going to charge fees, especially an insane amount in fees, then you have to protect this stuff. This is an extreme case as well, where you assisted, PSA, AGS, BGS, who knows about other grading companies that might come into play. None have so far. But the three of you, your three companies, have screwed over or helped screwed over a lot of people. Would these people have purchased these cards? Would it be all? It'd be all on eBay if none of it was authenticated. So you have to own up to this shit. I don't care if they cracked it out. If they can prove that it's the same card, if they still have the label, if they still have the exact same card with the same markings on the card, you should be responsible for it. Regardless. If you want to take it up with someone before that, it should be on you. If you want to take it up with the person that submitted it or the person that sold it originally and pass it down the line, then by all means, go for it. But I think this should be all honored. So, regardless, I think at the time here, we have a card that now, how does eBay have to come back on this? Or is it the FBI? Is it some sort of funds that had to be retrieved that way in order to help this customer out? Regardless, it's a huge mess because now with multiple owners, it's been graded graded and then attempted graded another time, cracked out and attempted to grade again. What a mess. What an absolute mess. And I'm sorry, but PSA, BGS, whoever, if you graded any of that particular card at any point in time, you should be held partially responsible for it. At least in terms of whether or not eBay wants to get the funds back, whether or not legally the funds are retrieved from Arjun, who is the original thief in the entire situation. But these grading companies should be doing everything they can in order to rectify the situation. They helped make the mess, help clean it up. Still no answer from Arjun on the phone. Again, Arjun, let's chat. Answer your phone. I want to know what's going on here. I want to know if you can make this right. It'll make it a whole lot easier if we can just sort this all out. Terrible mistake made on your part, and as we'll see, definitely not your first later on in the video here. Might be federal charges on multiple accounts after this stuff drops. So we have the eBay account. It's still active, still alive, but again, eBay might have to keep it up in order to process refunds and such. No listings. Again, not sure if those were pulled down by our boy Crunchy Arjun or eBay themselves. We got some examples here. We got the thin boys. So again, not only AGS guys, it's PSA, it's BGS, and it's AGS. All three of them, they all oopsie doopsied. It would be very helpful if PSA and BGS would, step up, provide us with an actual list of all the cards that were graded by Arjun, so that I can, not complete necessarily, but at least add to and come closer to having an actual full complete list. Who owns the cards, who touched the cards, who graded the cards, all of it. We need to know all of it. I need to know who owns it now. The people that own the cards need to be notified. So if it's all on a list, very easily, well, not very easily, but much easier to actually track down everyone that's stuck with these cards. So here we got thin stamp Pikachus in a 3 and a 6 and a 6. All the red cheeks. He likes his red cheeks. We got a first edition Electabuzz, again, thin stamp, so sold at a premium. Squirtle, and we got the order details on those. Very nice. What a absolute nightmare for everybody involved with this. It's a nightmare for me just trying to collect all the information. We're getting it done though. I don't have a ton of free time, but I am dedicating a lot of time to actually setting up an actual comprehensive list of all of the people that he's wronged, and dollar amounts, order numbers, contact information for everybody. Hopefully everyone in the end here is righted on this terrible shit that Arjun is doing to everyone. I don't know how you can do this to people, this many people, just trying to enjoy their hobby, and you're ripping them all off. But we'll see. He's a con artist, apparently, through and through. So here we have another little communication, not relevant to the previous thin stamps, but another little tidbit that was sent to me. Thank you very much for the person that did this, and everyone else that provided information to the email address. Again, ArjunIsADick at gmail.com. I'll put it in the description in case you need help on the spelling. But yeah, best to send everything there. I'm finally kind of catching up to my DMs everywhere else, but at the same time, I'm trying to stay as focused on this as possible until I have that comprehensive, top to bottom, FBI, F Arjun and the B list together. So important that everything goes straight there. Please and thank you. It makes it much easier for me. It'll make it much easier for everyone else. And I can at least keep track of everything. That's the reason for the catch-all. Not only is it a funny name, but it's also a catch-all so that I can stay organized. So here we have the Mewtwo First Edition Shadowless Hollow Near Mint Light Play 10 at a 102. And where the customer who purchased it said, "Hey, I went and got this card graded at BGS, but it came back as altered with a 0 grade. See image below. I'll know more details on Wednesday when I get it back. I would like to send the card back to you for a full refund. I am already out $100 for the grading fee, and I'll be leaving negative feedback unless you want to pay for that as well. Thanks." And that's pretty fair. And now Arjun, in his cowboy voice, which he almost certainly has, I can't confirm that because he won't answer his phone, but he probably said something like this. "Hey man, I'm so sorry about this. I'm surprised as well. I'll try to find the one who sold me this. Meanwhile, you can open a return request and send it back. When I receive it, I'll refund you fully. I can pay you back for the grading fee. Can you send me screenshots of the receipts? I'll have to do it outside of eBay though, since the max I can refund is the amount you paid. Let me know where you can accept payment. Thanks for bringing this up to me first." Here you go. Hey, I'll give you 106.2 as it's 1/15th of the total. How do you prefer to be paid? PayPal? If so, can I have your email? See photo. Hey, I've sent you the money. Did you get it? And go figure, it's from this same PayPal address. It left a nice trail for us to know that all of it was him. Again, the Wong address, we'll call it. But yeah. So again, trying to avoid getting reported, trying to avoid that negative feedback, and refunding whenever he gets caught. Played a large role in why it took as long as it did. But don't worry, all the people, thank you very much. Even if you caught him in it and he refunded you, send the info to me, because he's still trying to scam people. Regardless of whether he refunds you when he gets called out, he's still scamming everyone. So thank you. Send this to me. And of course, when he gets the card back, he's going to sell it to someone else. So I'd like to thank Jack and Dan for both sending me information on this. If we type in Arjun Dylan Kanye into Google, no, I'm not joking, we get some very interesting results. If you guys remember the Dylan the adylon.com, well, that's gonna play a nice little role here in connecting all the pieces. Here's our boy Arjun's website. He likes to highlight his work. So we have adylon.com/work/ethics lab. We've gone through these previously. We have /work/studio. We have /work/Gino. We have /work/Hawking. And most importantly, oh, no, wait, we got Best Buy too. Don't forget Best Buy. Most importantly, if you search on Google, this page comes up. We have adylon.com /work/Kanye. Kanye West, Arjun Dylan work, portfolio of Arjun Dylan, designer and educator. Interesting. So what happens if we take that link? What happens if we go to it? We get a whole lot of nothing. But thanks to the internet and its ever presence, you can't delete things from the internet. We go take the Wayback Machine, and here it is. We have Arjun Dylan's deleted page. Storytelling with Kanye West. Creative strategy and culture at Rap Camp. In 2009, I got the opportunity to meet Kanye West while I was working with another musician. We ended up spending a lot of time together talking about design, and eventually Kanye asked if I wanted to stay to consult on the album he was about to start making. I said, hell yes. I guess this should be in the cowboy voice, right? Kanye crafts albums. Sure, he has some great singles, and he can spend a huge amount of time obsessing over small details in a song. But his natural frame of reference is the whole album, so we spent most of our time working together from this perspective. I didn't try to shape the final product, the album itself, but instead we co-designed a strategy for creating the product, a unified approach that would guide the process for making the album. We lost some pictures here, which is kind of sad. If anyone knows how to retrieve those, that'd be cool. We developed a theme of ensemble storytelling. We were inspired by Les Mis and other musicals and wanted to leverage Kanye's diverse network. Kanye worked as the ensemble director, avoiding placing himself in the star role. He even split his appearance into different personas, modifying his voice so heavily that it was often hard to recognize. Kind of like this. Kanye slept at the studio complex we rented out, while his collaborators and I stayed at his house. How much did he steal while you were at his house? I worked to incubate the ensemble culture and operations, keeping collaborators in the middle of the action in a sustained community. Musicians would come out for a few days and then find themselves staying for a month. We eventually dropped the ensemble language in favor of a more fitting term, rap camp, or to some, rap nirvana. But the strategy remained in place, and Kanye continuously embodied and reinforced the approach. Kanye named the album My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and released it to widespread acclaim. Today it is hailed by many fans and critics as his best work. For his part, Kanye told me that it was his magnum opus. So, why is this important? Who cares? Maybe he asked Kanye's D at some point in time. Maybe he didn't. Who knows? But this connection, pretty important. What do you think he's up to? How do you think our boy Arjun Dylan got in trouble with the feds? How do you think? What did he do? Was it Kanye related? You can bet your bottom buns it was. So I think this is probably one of the better articles. As you can imagine, anything involving Kanye is going to have a bunch of nonsense in the article, around the article, pop-ups of wieners and buns all over the place. But here we have Kanye West subpoenaed to testify in upcoming former employees fraud trial. And we'll look at a couple of the articles. Arjun Dylan is accused of swindling $250,000 from a rich philanthropist charity. That's our boy. Our boy is already in trouble. So that makes you wonder, is he scamming people for Pokemon cards because he tried to scam using Kanye? Tried to scam Kanye and someone using Kanye's name. Is he scamming people with Pokemon cards now because he needs the money to pay for his lawyer that's being paid to protect him from this? Probably. So, did you guys see this coming? How the hell did Kanye involve himself in a Pokemon video? Well, this is how. He got attempted swindled by the swindler that's swindling Pokemon collectors. Kanye West has reportedly been subpoenaed to testify at an upcoming federal trial over the alleged fraud perpetrated by one of his former employees. According to the Chicago Tribune, the 44-year-old rapper/producer has been called as a witness at Arjun Dylan's trial. Dylan is accused of using, I take it he goes by Ye now instead of Kanye's name, in an attempt to swindle $250,000 from a rich philanthropist running an online charity campaign. While West is only peripherally involved in the case, his testimony could raise eyebrows at Chicago's downtown federal courthouse. Previously, his identity in Dylan's indictment filed in January 2020 was simply attributed to musician A. Prior Cashman, the law firm representing West in the case, as well as other law firms that represent him in family court and civil matters, have so far refused to accept service. Kanye himself has not been personally served with a notice of the subpoena. U.S. District Judge Thomas Durkin said it's just a matter of time before a process server or federal marshal finds West and serves him personally with the paperwork. Related, easy video. Get out of here. We'll get that out of the middle of the article. Assistant U.S. Attorney Brian Havey agreed that it's time to drop the musician A moniker and identify West as a potential witness, since prospective jurors will have to be questioned about him and their thoughts of him as a public figure. According to the indictment, in 2019, Dylan convinced a Florida-based philanthropist who was running a crowdsourcing charity campaign to wire $250,000 to a bank account allegedly affiliated with one of Kanye West's companies. It was actually controlled by Dylan. It was his personal account. As part of the alleged plot, Dylan created false emails. It sounds like Dylan. Sounds a whole lot like Arjun, doesn't it? False emails, kind of like false receipts that he's been creating for the Pokemon stuff, for the Pokemon products. The resealed theme decks that he was selling, the gold strip ones. He was creating false receipts for that as well, purporting to be between himself and West to convince Bill Pulte, the grandson of the late founder of Detroit home building giant Pulte Group, that he was close. My apologies if I pronounced that wrong, but I have no idea. That he was close to the rapper. The truth, however, is that West had ended their relationship in October 2018. Dylan told Pulte that West was willing to lend money and star power to Pulte's cause in exchange for financial support of West's design studio project, according to the indictment. Dylan's bank flagged the wired funds before he had the chance to falsely represent that he was associated with West in an effort to keep them from taking the money back. Ultimately, Pulte was able to alert his own bank of the potential fraud and stop the funds from being dispersed to Dylan, according to court records. Jury selection for the trial is scheduled to begin on April 4th, not all that long ago. Very, very cool, Dylan. Very cool, Mr. Dylan. All right, people. We got an article here. We will ream through it. We'll try and avoid any of the nonsense that has nothing to do with it. But we have Kanye West subpoenaed in trial involving ex-employee may have to testify report. Kanye West has been issued a subpoena in a case involving former employee Arjun Dylan, who was charged with wire fraud. Pretty serious charge, if I'm not mistaken, especially for that dollar value. He's looking more and more like a J-boy all the time. Kanye West may soon be taking the witness stand at trial thanks to his indirect involvement in a federal wire fraud case in Chicago. The Easy rapper and his legal team have been subpoenaed to testify in the upcoming trial of Arjun Dylan, a former employee of West accused of trying to scam $250,000 from a wealthy philanthropist, according to the Chicago Tribune. Dylan's attorneys have reportedly issued subpoenas to Prior Cashman, the law firm representing West 44 in the case, and to the musician himself to appear at trial. At a status hearing on Wednesday, Dylan's attorney, Sheldon Zenner, who declined to comment, said that West had not been personally given notice of the subpoena, but that Prior Cashman and the other firms representing him have so far refused to accept service, the Tribune reported. Dylan was charged in January 2020 with wire fraud for falsely representing his association with Kanye West to secure a $250,000 payment from a philanthropist's online charity campaign, according to court documents obtained by People. His indictment talks extensively of someone referred to as Musician A, but does not identify said musician. A motion filed this week and obtained by People, however, indicates that West is, in fact, Musician A. The indictment says Dylan was briefly affiliated with West, but fired around October 2018, the year before his alleged scheme took place. So was it like a revenge scheme? Who knows? Maybe he was upset that he was no longer making Kanye bucks and decided to scam. But there's got to be like a reason why this scam happened, right? Like, why did the Kanye scam happen? And maybe is the Pokemon scamming to pay for the Kanye scam lawyer? It's got to be, right? Dylan is accused of defrauding a single victim by claiming he was associated with West and that the Grammy-winning rapper was willing to support the victim's online philanthropy campaign if the victim gave $250,000 to support West's purported studio design project. Dylan allegedly created fake emails to convince the victim of his close relationship with West, and Dylan's bank flagged the transaction after the victim wired the money, according to the documents. Well, good on them. It's good to see that there was some kind of safety net in place there. You can't just receive $250,000 and have them not look into it. Related, Kanye West faces backlash. We don't care. After Dylan falsely represented his association with West to the bank in an effort to keep the money, which is probably, there's got to be other charges for that, right? Maybe I need to be a lawyer, just an armchair lawyer at this point in time. The victim was eventually able to put a stop to the wire after alerting his own bank. Jury selection for the trial is set to begin on April 4th, and U.S. District Judge Thomas Durkin told a prior Cashman attorney that it would be in everyone's best interest to simply accept receipt of the subpoena and file a motion to quash it if need be before the trial begins, the Tribune reported. A representative for prior Cashman did not immediately respond to People's request for comment. Probably not. All right, let's take a look at the Chicago Tribune. Criminal justice. Former Kanye West collaborator takes deal from prosecutors. Scuttling fraud trial where Ye was a potential witness. So the most important part here, it's a lot of the same stuff reiterated, but here, this part's pretty important. The April 4th trial was abruptly postponed, however, as both sides worked towards a potential deal. This week, Dylan formally entered into what's known as a deferred prosecution agreement, meaning the U.S. Attorney's Office will drop the case against him in 6 months if he stays out of trouble. Is scamming people for Pokemon cards for at least $100,000 from what I'm looking at? Is that staying out of trouble? Or is that another federal case? I think you done dicked yourself, Dylan. It's not staying out of trouble, if you ask me. What do you guys think? Is he out of trouble? Is he in more trouble? Double trouble? All right, let's look at one more article here. We have Kanye West subpoenaed to testify in ex-employee's fraud trial. I don't think there's any new information or different information provided here. Very short and to the point article, I guess. But here we have the actual court documents, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to make sure that all of these make their way onto the screen here for the sake of documenting it. But also we're going to read through the actual, I think the PDF here of particular interest. Again, a lot of the same information provided, but at the same time, probably pretty important to have all of this and to take it into consideration. So, first up here, United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, United States of America v. Arjun Dylan. The special January 2019 grand jury charges, at times relevant to this indictment, defendant Arjun Dylan was a resident of New York. Well, that's important because he still is. That's where he's scamming. He's Pokemon scamming from. So, is a resident of New York. Dylan was briefly affiliated with Musician A, which is Kanye, but his services for Musician A were terminated prior to the start of the charged scheme. He is a schemer. What a little schemer. But he's caught. He's caught red-handed. You don't mess with the Pokemon community, and you don't mess with Kanye, apparently. Victim A was a resident of Florida and Illinois and was engaged in philanthropic activities. Oh my God, I can't read tonight. Musician A was a resident of California. He had employees who worked on behalf of him and his entities, beginning no later than on or about July 11th, 2019, and continuing until on or about August 13th, 2019, at Chicago in the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, and elsewhere. Arjun Dylan, defendant herein, knowingly intended to devise, and participated in a scheme to defraud and to obtain money and property from victim A by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises, which scheme is further described below. It was part of the scheme that Arjun Dylan fraudulently obtained $250,000 from victim A by falsely claiming that Dylan was currently associated with musician A, Kanye, and that Kanye was willing to support victim A's online campaign in exchange for $250,000 from victim A to support musician A's purported design studio project. It was further part of the scheme that Arjun Dylan falsely represented to victim A that he was currently associated with musician A, when in fact, as Dylan knew, musician A had already terminated his association with Dylan no later than in approximately October 2018. Very interesting. It was further part of the scheme that Arjun Dylan falsely represented to victim A that musician A was willing to donate $250,000 to victim A's online philanthropy campaign in exchange for $250,000 from victim A to support musician A's purported design studio project, when in fact, as Dylan knew, musician A had no knowledge of Dylan's representations to victim A and had never authorized Dylan to make such representations. It was further part of the scheme that Arjun Dylan created and sent email communications to victim A that falsely purported to be between Dylan and musician A in order to convince victim A that musician A would approve a $250,000 donation to victim A's online philanthropy campaign once musician A had received $250,000 from victim A. It was further part of the scheme that Arjun Dylan provided victim A bank account information that Dylan falsely represented was associated with musician A for the purpose of having victim A transfer money to that account in connection with musician A's, it's like a tongue twister with all these A's, purported design studio project. In fact, as Dylan knew, the bank account information he provided to victim A was for Dylan's own personal bank account. Dylan, Arjun, my boy, don't put it in your own bank account. I guess he didn't want to take a PayPal payment to his fake PayPal address. It was going straight to his bank account. It was a wire. It was further part of the scheme that Arjun Dylan, based on the fraudulent representation details above, received an interstate wire transfer of $250,000 from victim A's bank account. There's the wire fraud, LOL. It was further part of the scheme that after Arjun Dylan's bank notified Dylan that it was investigating whether to recall the wire transfer from victim A, Dylan falsely represented to his bank that he was associated with musician A and denied any fraudulent conduct in order to convince his bank not to recall the wire transfer. It was further part of the scheme that defendant concealed, misrepresented, and hid, and caused to be concealed, misrepresented, and hidden the existence and purpose of the scheme and acts done in furtherance of the scheme. On or about July 12th, 2019 at Chicago in the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, and elsewhere, Arjun Dylan, defendant herein, for the purpose of executing the above-described scheme, knowingly caused to be transmitted by means of wire communication in interstate commerce certain writings, signs, and signals, namely an interstate wire transfer of $250,000 from victim A's account at CIBC Bank to Dylan's account at Simple Bank in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1343. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's we'll just give this one a scroll through here. We have the other documents. We have the protective order governance discovery here. Maybe I'll less aggressively scroll through it just in case anyone wants to pause and read any of it. Hopefully it's still legible on the screen. We'll just give it a quick pause on each page here for you guys. What do you guys think? I think we might need some legal advice on what exactly is going on here, on the specifics, and on what it means that our boy Arjun Dylan is still scamming. He scammed, he got caught, and now he's supposed to be a good boy, and now he's scamming Pokemon collectors. So can't really feel bad for him. Not his first offense. It seems like he's on a tear. He's just going to scam anything and everything that ever existed, and we're not about that here. Thanks everybody for tuning in once again. Appreciate everyone that can make it on Fridays and everyone that watches it later on. You're the best. Make sure you take one for the road, but no drinking and driving. Thanks for tuning in. Join the Discord. As I mentioned, tomorrow night we'll be there hanging out 6 p.m. Eastern in voice and video chat optional, of course. I mean, if you want to be quiet, you can be quiet too. But we're usually on there opening stuff, and it's a good time. I haven't met anyone yet that's joined the Discord call, the happy hour, and complaint. It's a good spot. It's a good group. We got a nice little group there. Remember, always use a coaster so you don't get your playmat dirty. But yeah, take care. Good night. Don't be an Arjun.